Santa Cruz has such a good surfing scene that, you know, if you surf here and you're into it, you know, this is the best place to be, in California at least. I mean, I'd like to still do the tricks, but I'd like to know how to really drive a board and change with speed and my direction with a lot of speed and go the opposite way, you know. That's sort of what I want to get into, you know, challenging myself to ride equipment that, you know, might not be the most functional, but it is the most challenging, you know. And then when you hop on your board that you're really used to and you know that it's like the board you're going to surf your best on, you're like, whoa, it opens up, you know, different ideas. When I come home, I can relax and, you know, and really soul surf. I like to go up the coast with my friends, wake up really early in the morning and crack it and, you know, have coffee and psych out and listen to music.
I've never truly known. A thousand more speak for me. My body makes them all home. It's a blue they are the same. You know, you're one with the ocean. It's just you and your little fiberglass blade, and that's it. You know, there's no one else is involved with you in that wave. I like waves with different characteristics where you can get your tubes and come out and do your turns, and you can fly down the line, and you can do cutbacks, and going left and going right. It's just motivation for me to get up at 4 in the morning and just amp out and get out there at dawn and train and to do all that, you know. And I've always wanted to just improve my surfing more than anything.
With it, or just for free surf, you know. Psyching, you know, gets you pumped up. Gotta have music, you know. It's like it gets that natural adrenaline going even before you hit the water. About 54 water temperature, swell 6 feet. To me, that's soul surfing, because you got to be pretty core to get out of bed. You know, so I like putting on your trunks.
Better get used to the mix, cause now I'm here for ages, and I plan to be here now for years. Yeah, because I is who I is.
everybody's out there, you know, and there's just a high level of energy, you know. Everybody's just looking for that one section just to do a big, you know, maneuver right there because everybody's watching. It just pushes you really, you know, all your peers out there watching you, you know. It's like, I don't know, and there's a lot of criticism out there too, you know, and that helps a lot. Like to stretch out, you know, to some faster music and like relax and just really focus on what's going on out there.
When I paddle over the edge at Mavericks, I'm just kind of on automatic pilot at that point. If you're thinking about it too much, you probably won't make it. You're just kind of relying on instinct. You're making sure your penetration's good. You have to know if it's not good, when to back out, because if you overcommit yourself and you find out it's not good, bad news out there.
As I paddle out, I'm always paddling out, trying to get myself focused on what I'm getting ready to do and what's going to happen. On the way out, I basically just try to get my mind set on what's going to happen, and you know, I always paddle out and I say, this could be my last session ever, but and that's one thing you got to recognize, and that's something I recognize as I paddle out, is that it could be, you know, my last session surfing, and you know, it just that's something that goes through my head a lot, just kind of trying to get myself prepared if something really bad happens. Just kept paddling and paddling, and finally I felt like I had it, stood up, and right when I stood up, the whole thing it said, no, you're not going anywhere. As I was going over the falls, I had time to think to myself, just stay calm, just don't panic. This is what you've been training for. And then I hit the bottom, and that was kind of interesting.
watching people, you know, just the way it is, the way you can do anything you want and no one can tell you what to do. You can just go out there and have a session all alone and just do whatever you want, and there's no rules, nothing to tell you to hold back. You can go as hard as you want. I like to surf with Chris a lot. That's one of my favorite persons to surf with because he's so good and he does crazy stuff, and that's fun. I like to surf with a lot of people. I like to surf with my brother a lot. That's fun. Every time I go out and the waves are good and I'm surfing with him, we have so much fun together. I always have my best sessions with him, I think.
al son que le tocan bailar, camina siempre adelante pa' que no le pasen vainas, bien mansito se acurruca en el seno de mi comadre y baila el son currupacho y no se lo enseña a nadie, y baila el son currupacho y no se lo enseña a nadie.
control surfing is just grabbing the board and being yourself. It's kind of like what a cat does. A cat can just do anything he wants, and he could make his own fun, you know, make other stuff up. Cats go around and they entertain themselves. That's what I like to do when I'm in the water.
masolo na bato po badenike ngai nakipaka te o ngai nakipaka te o bapinda batombo na bango ngai nakipaka te o bakaba lisolo na bato po basambwisa ngai nasamba kala ngai nasamba na ngai kala bafinga mingi ngai nasila lokoso kumai nakipaka te o ngai nakipaka te o bafinga batongo na bango ngai nakipaka te o basasa batia na banzi nyama ya moto moko balobi batongi bafingi po nalobaka te o bakaba masolo na bato po badenike ngai nakipaka te o ngai nakipaka te o bafinga batongo na bango ngai nakipaka te o bakaba lisolo na bato po basambwisa ngai nasamba kala ngai nasamba na ngai kala bafinga mingi ngai nasila lokoso mumbai nakipaka te o ngai nakipaka te o bafinga batongo na bango ngai nakipaka te o basasa batia na banzi nyama ya moto moko bapingi pona lobaka te nakaba masolo na bato po badenike ngai
Can't say much about that wave that it doesn't say for itself. The place it's awesome.
Surfing to me is, first of all, is respecting every head in the water, no matter how good they surf and no matter how jump they surf. You know, it's good to give them respect, and after you're giving them respect, you can find soul in yourself that you can have fun surfing and forget about, you know, what's it really about. You know, like not the contest stuff, not who's the best surfer. It's just about having fun and doing what you want on the wave and having fun and see where you can go and travel. And when you do that, then that's where you find soul.
shaking from head to toe right now. Just out of being tired, I guess. Gosh, 300-yard long wave.
Well, as far as maneuvering and things like this, it's going more back to speed and more back to power, as well as the new tricks incorporated into that. It's going to become more of an elite sport, and that the people that train and eat right and do the right thing are going to be the people that excel, and that's starting to happen this year especially.
Just do it for yourself, you know. If you see somebody doing tricks, don't do tricks because he's doing tricks, you know. Do whatever you feel like it. You know, it's about the wave itself, what you're doing on the wave that makes you feel good. It's not power is not the best thing in surfing, tricks not the best thing. It's about what you feel like doing on that wave to yourself.
I don't know, everyone's like saying it's gonna be straps, you know, and I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's gonna go that way. I'd say more like back to like the old piggy power surf.
Feature of switch stance, tube riding, shove it's in the barrel, spinners in the barrel somehow, varials, shove it to floaters, kick flips, 720s, 540s, combos, soul.
I think they're doing a lot of great stuff in small waves. I think the next step is to do those things in maybe 8 to 10 foot surf or bigger, which is probably a little bit dangerous, but be fun to try.
Yeah, I think with the towing thing that they're doing, they'll do the small wave maneuvers and bigger waves. But I think if you're paddling into a bigger wave, there's still that limit. You
can do something new. I try to do something that excites myself. You know, doing a little trick excites me sometimes when it's small in California. You know, I have to go do powerful turns when there's swells, but when it's small, you know, I just like to mix it up because I get bored.
No, I mean, they're going so haywire right now. It's whatever I think skateboarding's dictating what they do on skateboarding. They're gonna just keep trying to do with the surfboard, I think. You know, kick flips. Maybe some guy's gonna do one of those McTwist things.
You're gonna have to stay on the cutting edge of surfing, and now it's radical board slides, and you know, it's being really solid on your surfboard, and in the future I could see it, you know, becoming more intricate, and everyone being really intricate and really consistent at the same time. So if you know, that's the direction it's gonna go. It's obviously, you know, gonna go more on the skateboard or snowboard influence for sure, but better have, I mean,